This is Chris Hill and Mark Frisco, and welcome to Get Real with Mark and Chris. Today we have the privilege of welcoming Scott Sanders with Tobacco Barn Distillery. So tell us about Tobacco Barn Distillery.
So Tobacco Barn Distillery is three partners, Dan Dawson, Sean Coogan, and myself, and our wives. We grow the corn up in Hollywood, Maryland, on the farm. It's the farm across from Gatton's Barbershop. We've been down in Hollywood, Leonardtown, right?
Yeah.
Grow the corn there. We get the rye from the Stoffers, the Mennonites there in Ludlow. So it's all done local here. We do everything on the farm besides growing the corn to mashing, distilling, aging, bottling, everything there. So it's all very local. Everything's in Maryland. Everything's St. Mary's County.
That's amazing. Awesome. That's actually really cool. Part of our show is the passion for Southern Maryland and a lot of the great places that we have here, and that's why we're happy to have you here. You guys grow the corn and just do it all there.
Yeah, and what a lot of people don't know is that if you've ever heard of Basil Hayden bourbon, he's the caricature on the old Granddad bottle.
Yep.
Well, Basil Hayden, there's a branded J.W. Dant, J. Mattingly, Willett, Wathan. All those were real people here in St. Mary's County in the 1700s.
Wow.
Really?
So Basil Hayden was born over in St. Clements. His farm was down in Ridge.
Wow.
So he was making bourbon or whatever the precursors of bourbon were, but it was corn and rye back in the 1700s. And then they, through a bunch of nonsense, they departed in 1785 and went to settle in Pottinger's Creek, Virginia, which is 18 miles south of Bardstown, Kentucky. So as they tell people, that's the sad tale of how Maryland lost the bourbon.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. I never knew. Well, I knew about Basil Hayden and that Basil Hayden was originally from here, but I didn't realize that we had that much whiskey history here in Maryland.
Jim Beam's from Frederick. So he got married in Frederick, and then he went over, moved near Basil Hayden.
That's amazing.
I wonder why everybody ran away.
We outlawed Catholicism. That's the short. Because remember, it's during the colonial period.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So tell us what you brought for us. What do we have?
So we have this is our bourbon. We release one barrel a month, but 44 cases. This is 75 corn, 25 rye. That's the percentage in the mash bill. We do a high rye because that's what Basil Hayden did.
Is it normal to use corn for bourbon?
Yeah, it's the law to use corn for bourbon.
Okay. So in order to be considered bourbon, it has to be 75% corn, 25%.
It has to be a minimum of 51% corn.
Cool.
The other 49% can be more corn, rye, barley, wheat, whatever you want. We use rye because that's what Basil Hayden did.
I have to say, it's too bad they don't have smell-o-vision in here. Because did you smell that? Like when you just opened that bottle, the smell in here is so good.
Yeah. And that's about 5.5 years aged in a 53 gallon, what we call a number 3 char, medium char barrel.
Wow, that's actually really smooth, right?
That's good.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
So what made you want to get into distilling?
It's a funny little story. I'll give you the short version. So a long time ago, I used to be an admiral in the Navy, and I ran the International Counter-Piracy Task Force off Somalia for 6 months. And so as gifts, I used to hand out bottles of bourbon.
Wow.
Get a little Sharpie. Hey, thanks for helping fight virus. Love and kisses, Admiral Sanders. And I became a very popular person in the Gulf of Aden.
Hey, you're popular with me. You're bringing bourbon. It's not always a good thing.
Well, first of all, thank you for your service. That's amazing.
So I get back. I'm talking to my friends, Dan and Sean. And we've been good friends for over 30 years. We Scotch and bourbon guys. And I said, hey, I know we like bourbon, but it's got some worldwide acclaim. Dan goes, well, I had the number 3 license to distill corn into ethanol during the fuel crisis of the late 70s. So he was a senior at Chopticon. So it was Dan Dawson at Chopticon High School, Cone Agra, and Archer Daniels Midland. A high school kid from St. Mary's County, a $2 billion corporation. So he was turning corn into ethanol during the fuel crisis. Wow. And then oil went down. He went to college. He went to the University of Maryland and St. Mary's College here. So he's a local boy, done well, very smart. He knows all the chemistry. And then Sean, my other partner, he'd been kind of tracking it. He knows all the legal ins and outs. It didn't become legal in this county until 2014.
Part of our show is getting real and understanding some of those things. And,
some of the intricacies of that.
That's pretty cool.
How hard it is to do things. I think people don't realize what it takes to start a distillery or a brewery or any of those types of things. You know.
Well, we're just we're keeping it local. We try to bring the heritage back here to St. Mary's County. A lot of people, they've heard little pieces of the story. There's a huge Maryland to Kentucky society because everybody went over there. My partner went there last year. He went to a graveyard. All the gravestones, Rayleigh, Mattingly, Coombs, Spalding.
Wow,
they're all there.
Amazing. That's
There's only two places in the United States with stuffed ham: Southern Maryland, Nelson County, Kentucky.
Wow.
That's crazy. Now that's
That's interesting.
It's the exact same people. We're just saying,
That's amazing. Yeah, that's pretty good.
And they have Maryland's Type 609 tobacco there. So not the cigarette tobacco, the burley.
Right.
They have Maryland 609 there.
Wow. That's super fascinating, though, right? You know what I mean? Like
that really is.
Connection is something you don't really put together.
I learned something today.
St. Mary's County and Kentucky, don't usually go together. But
let me pour you some rye. Maryland, before Prohibition, New York, Pennsylvania, and Maryland were the top 3 rye distilling states. Maryland, we cut our rye with corn. Now in Pennsylvania, it's 100% rye or whatever. They think you're a sissy if you put corn in your rye. But people say, hey, why do you put corn in the rye? I say, well, it's just the recipes. It's not anything that's written down. That's 75 rye, 25 corn, and that's about 5.5 years age too.
Awesome.
That's pretty. It's amazing the difference between the two, right? Like,
yep.
I mean, like
it's a little like velvetier, a little thicker, a little smoother. Yeah.
But tell people you've had cornbread, that's bourbon, and you've had pumpernickel bread. That's right, because that's the grain. You're pulling those grain flavors in.
Yeah, never made that connection before.
Neither, but you can kind of.
We might have to do our next whiskey tasting with some cornbread and pumpernickel.
Cornbread and pumpernickel.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is amazing stuff. I keep eyeing that Constellation rum that you have over there. I know a little bit about the story of that. So would you mind sharing that one? Because that's pretty cool.
We're a bourbon distillery. So early on, I told my partners I want to make rum, and they said no. And so I had to beg them. And they said, hey, you can make rum out of 2 things, sugar cane or molasses. And Maryland makes 11% or so of the nation's molasses supply.
Wow. Didn't know that either.
This is crazy. I had no idea.
Well, it's a byproduct of making sugar, and I'm a Navy guy, and Navy rum's made out of molasses.
Okay.
And so we can make it an all Maryland rum. We age it and use bourbon barrels. We treat it like a bourbon. We don't put anything in. It's just molasses, water, yeast, and a used bourbon barrel.
Wow.
Now this is 80 proof. It's dialed back just a hair. We put it in use bourbon barrels. It goes up to, it's aged about 4.5 years. 20 months of that, it's aged on the USS Constellation. So it's always moving on the daily tide.
Right.
And this one has, I tell people, 7 nor'easters in it. So
oh, wow.
You get some more oxidation. You get a lot more barrel contact.
That's a good rum.
Yeah. I mean, I don't usually drink rum like this. You know what I mean? I always
I drink with Coke or something.
Cocktail,
yeah.
But it's smooth.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Well,
I like a good sipping rum, though.
That's
there are
some.
Rum. Yeah.
I mean, some people say they mix. Okay, go ahead. That's fine. It'll be the best damn rum and Coke you ever had. But it's this is meant to be drunk like a bourbon.
I would pour this and sip this.
Yeah, no, I would too. I think it's like it's smooth. It's you can not. I sound like a rum connoisseur, but I can taste molasses in
the sweetness.
Can you get that too?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like I can really.
I can taste it. Yeah, it's not cane.
Domino
it's molasses. Yep.
We were making rum out of their molasses. They invited us up for a full day tour.
No way.
Of the factory to see how they make molasses. It's a fascinating way that they make molasses up in Baltimore.
That's cool. Amazing
so
stuff.
Everything in here comes from Maryland. Maryland.
So I started to say earlier, thank you for your service. And also, so are you originally from this area, you yourself? But now you're retired.
This is what we said earlier.
And you decided to stay.
Yeah.
Why'd you decide to stay?
Because my wife stayed.
Oh, okay.
That's
a good
It's
answer.
an easy decision.
That's a good answer. We were just
I've
talking.
been married 40 years, and I plan on being married 41.
Good for you.
Yeah, we were just talking in our previous show about how people tend to come here that are military from outside the area, and they stay, they retire and stay here because they like the area. So
It's a beautiful area.
Yeah, it really is. It's like that's part of what we say here. You know, I mean, you're growing the corn for this bourbon here in St. Mary's County. You're able to do that, and then if you wanted to go out on the boat this afternoon, you could, right? And that's pretty amazing to me. You know,
that's what's awesome.
Yeah, I really love that.
There's so much to do around here. You got water.
Yeah.
You got you got the Leonardtown where there's a little bit more going on
Right.
there, but then you have farms and a lot of there's people here that have flower farms. There's all sorts of things around here.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's
It's
impressive,
a beautiful
yeah.
place. Do you have anything else for us?
I can make you an old fashioned.
That would be fantastic.
That one I want cold though.
Yeah, that one with ice,
no ice on
preferable.
that.
Yeah.
So
Well,
what
we
we
can
do
sip on
is,
that. Food.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. Yeah.
There's a great product on the market called Proof. It's all the old fashioned mix and bitters, everything in one thing. And so it doesn't take any expertise to do this.
All right.
That's cool.
We'll see how
I
it
think
turns
I've
out.
used Proof before. It's good
I'm
stuff.
a
This
bit
makes-
of an
this
old
makes
fashioned
32 bucks.
connoisseur,
Me
so we'll
too.
see.
We had this at our tasting room up in Hollywood, and somebody came in one Saturday, and they said, "Hey, I want to buy some Proof." And I said, "Well, I don't know." I said, "Well, we don't sell it." And he goes, "Well, it says on the Proof website you do." I said,
I love that.
then we just start ordering it. So it works out real well. We don't really care about having it. In fact,
Well, it's a good product to have. I mean, it fits
it's-
with your stuff.
we sell it. That's $25 a bottle. You go on Amazon, it's 32 or 33.
Okay.
So it's it's not like we're there to sell bourbon, not sell Proof.
He obviously likes you better than me.
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
I'm not commenting because it looks just good to me. Scott, well, thank you very much. I can't wait to taste this old fashioned.
Now, I don't know if I got the proportions right. Is
Yeah,
that
that's
close
good.
enough?
That's good. Where can people find you, Scott? They can go to tobaccobarndistillery.com.
We work with a lot of local liquor stores around here, so we like having people go there. So if you're up here on 235, there's Blue Wind, Twist,
yeah.
California Liquors, Wildwood Liquors, all the local places. You got Chiefs down in Tall Timbers.
How about in Calvert County?
That's an ocean away.
Yeah.
No,
Well, so over in Calvert, we have 3 great stores over there. So we have Nick's at Prince Frederick. In fact, Nick Jr., he's awesome. He's like our 4th customer. He's
Nice.
great. And then we have Pax Wine and Spirits
Okay.
right there in Lesby. And
Yep.
then Porticol right over here in Solomons.
Nice. Perfect.
Yeah.
So do you have like a tasting room where people can
Yeah,
come
we have a
hang
tasting
out?
room up in Hollywood. So,
Okay.
as I say, if you want to get a bottle, you can just we go to the store. We like supporting our people who retail it. Oh, the other thing I'll let you know: if you go to Longhorn Steakhouse, they have us. They're the only bar who has us here.
That's awesome.
Really?
Well, they're the one bar, and then Social in Leonardtown.
That's where I saw you.
Yeah, so Social has us there. They have us buy the drink. They'll make you a smoked old-fashioned cocktail, and they have us
Nice.
buy the bottle. So they're
That's
they do
awesome.
it the drink. So Social is probably one of our biggest people that do not only the cocktails but then the bottles.
That
Yeah.
may or may not have been where I had the smoked old fashioned before. I'm just saying.
Smoked old-fashioned is awesome.
Yeah, I do love that.
That's awesome that the community's supporting you, though. Like,
Yeah. I love this. I mean, I got to tell you, this is great, and I really thank you so much for coming in here.
We're part of the tourism piece here too, so people come by there. In fact, if you know where Pier 450 is in South County,
Yep.
that's Peggy. She sent people up our way over the weekend. We sent people down there.
Nice.
There's Susanna's Watch B&B up in Mechanicsville, up toward that area. She has a lavender farm and cut flowers. So, and then we work a lot with Port of Leonardtown. We're always working with that.
That's
Okay.
awesome. So,
Well-
can people just come into your tasting just anytime, or like is there
well,
hours, or?
we ask. It's on the weekends,
So, okay.
Saturday and Sunday. We ask people to make a reservation. They don't need one, but it's kind of like a restaurant. If we're full, we're full.
Yeah, I get it.
So that
I
we
get
take 8 at a time.
Well, if there's nothing else, Scott, thank you so much for coming in
great.
here.
Yeah.
This has been amazing.
We really appreciate it.
I really appreciate it, and it's, the stuff's amazing. You need to if you're not buying from Tobacco Barn Distillery, you need to for
And
real.
you need to
This
go
is
check
good
it
stuff.
out.
Check it out.
Yep. Try it. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
try it for sure. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you so
Hey,
much.
appreciate being here. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
All right.